Welcome everyone to Tuesday night 21 Pathways at Bethany Church. Let's please turn off or silence our cell phones. My name is Scott Seals. I'm an alcoholic addict. Before we start, I've asked someone to open up in prayer.
My name is Brian, and I'm an addict. Third step prayer. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help to thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always.
Thank you. Smoking and vaping are allowed outside only. Bathrooms are located over to the right. 21 Pathways is a faith over doubt-based fellowship to help people navigate life's challenges, addictions, and struggles. 21 Pathways is community, and we do it together. The number 21 symbolizes two distinct paths converging into one. One path represents those in recovery seeking spiritual guidance, and the other path is for those seeking to be equipped with the different successful steps we took in our recovery. Together, these paths will unite into one true pathway that leads to eternal salvation, healing, and redemption, the path to kingdom. Psalms 32:8. The Lord says, I will guide you along the best pathway for your life. I will advise you and watch over you. Our motto is, come as you are, leave changed. I've asked some volunteers to help read the 12 Laws of Recovery. It was written from the Temptation of Christ from the book of Matthew, and 21 Pathways translation of the Beatitudes from the Sermon on the Mount.
Hi, I am Danielle, and these are the 12 Laws of Recovery. 1. Powerlessness will result in strength. 2. Humility will result in honor. 3. Connection will result in love. 4. Willingness will result in growth. 5. Sacrifice will result in fulfillment. 6. Faith will result in hope. 7. Surrender will result in victory. 8. Service will result in reward. 9. Forgiveness results in freedom. 10. Confession will result in healing. 11. Restitution will result in closure. And 12. Responsibility will result in security.
Ashley, alcoholic. Matthew 4, temptation of Jesus. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Jesus answered, It is written, Man shall not live on bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God. Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. If you are the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down, for this is written. He will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Jesus answered him, It is also written, Do not put the Lord your God to the test. Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. All this I will give you, he said, if you bow down and worship me. Jesus said to him, Away from me, Satan, for it is written, Worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Then the devil left him, and the angels came and attended him.
Hey everybody, my name is Anthony, alcoholic addict. Today I'm going to be reading 21 Pathways, translation of the Sermon on the Mount, Beatitudes. Now when the greatest teacher of all time saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. His students came to him, and he began to teach them. He said, Blessed are the underdogs, for they will have an unbelievable comeback story. Blessed are those who are sad, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, the gentle, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are those who forgive, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will be example of goodness. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are hated on for doing the right thing, for they will thrive. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of your beliefs. Therefore rejoice, stand tall, because faithfulness is the reward.
This is an open meeting at 21 Pathways. All crowds are welcome. In keeping up with our purpose, passion, and gratitude, we ask all who participate to confine their discussion to 3 to 4 minutes or less, topic or scripture at hand. Brian will be running the clock. At 21, we recognize how every number has a name, every name has a story, and every story matters to God.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
You want to, let's go real quick, Kristen, through the couple of those announcements. Okay, so on the 22nd of this month, it's 2 weeks away. It's our 1 year anniversary. Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. We're going to try to get a taco truck. Quentin's going to find a good taco truck. I don't know how much tacos are at a taco truck, but we're going to try to get one out here. There's going to be a lot of snacks on the inside. It's going to be inside inside the worship center. And, you know, Tony R. and I are going to go over, my good buddy Tony, we're going to start off with Exodus and kind of replay that a little bit. You know, just how you know, Moses and his peoples, right? How they freed themselves from Pharaoh. So we're going to go back to Exodus. It's a great introduction. If this is like your first time coming, you definitely want to hit that up. But it's our 1 year anniversary. It's a big deal. We're going to be, I think we're going to have some sweatshirts and stuff that we're going to be selling. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So check that out. It's on the 22nd. And then a week later, we will not be in here. We will be out there on the softball field. We're going to have this higher purpose, higher power men's retreat that's happening in March that a few of us in here are a part of. It's happening in March over at Camp Yeager. We're having a softball tournament. A lot of different recovery centers are involved. We're going to have booths out there. Everyone's going to be passing out candy. 21 Pathways is going to have a team along with Fentanyl Anonymous, Heroin Anonymous, and Cocaine Anonymous, FAHACA. And then also First Steps is going to have a team, as well as the Big Book Trudgers led by Sal. So it's just like our memorial softball tournament. There's going to be 4 teams out there. You lose, you go home. 2 teams advance. The third game will be the championship game under the lights. If you want to be a part of the 21 Pathways team, we've been playing the softball now for a while. Talk to Ashley and Jared. They're our fearless coaches. Let them know that you want to be a part of it, and we'll figure that out from there. And then also, yeah, that spiritual retreat so we're trying to raise funds for the spiritual retreat. We're trying to raise extra scholarship money for people who are, right, new in recovery and aren't really working. So we're trying to raise some money for that. And that's going to be in March. So if you have any questions about that, you can check it out online. There's a website, or just come talk to me after the meeting. And then last is, so in 2 weeks, we don't have a flyer for this, Kristen. I'm just throwing this out there. In 3 weeks, on Sunday, the 27th of this month, we are doing, here at the church, we're doing this, it's like Donut Sunday, right? Bring a friend, Donut Sunday. And I thought it'd be really cool if 21 Pathways got involved and if we figured out a way to maybe bring some donuts for the church. And that way, all of you who have never been to a service here can come check it out. It's our pastor is going to go over the book of Jude. It's going to be great. He'll be starting that day. So it'll be a fresh new start and a whole new series, teaching series. So if it's something you think you might want to do, I put this whiteboard over here. Brian's got some pens. Just sign your name up. It's not for a few weeks. I would prefer that you talk to if you're in a sober living home, talk to your sober living manager and get him involved. So that way, I can hold him accountable, right? So if it's something you want to do, I thought it'd be really cool if we could bring or help out and bring all the donuts. So if you want to do it, just throw your name up on the board. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and get started. You want to start us off, Scott?
Absolutely. My name is Scott Seals. I'm an alcoholic and an addict.
What's up, Scott?
James 3:13 through 18. Wisdom is essential to recovery. It must, however, be godly wisdom, not earthly wisdom. Earthly wisdom leads to selfishness and pride, invariably causing confusion and strife. True wisdom is based on that knowledge of God. It brings peace and leads to selfless living and faith that works. It never distinguishes between groups of people, but treats everyone with respect and love. Godly wisdom allows us to admit our failures and rebuild our life from the ashes of defeat. It frees us from our destructive dependency. It helps us live for others and build relationships that will support our recovery. But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. James 3:17.
So tonight we're going to go through, we're finishing up our healthy relationships through the book of James. I took Pastor Brent's notes and combined them with mine. We're going to talk about how do we get along with people in recovery? How do we get along with people in sobriety? Once we found that way to get sober, now we have to deal with people, right? Sometimes people are easy to get along with, and then there's, people like me who you don't like, and, you want me to, so anyways, we deal with people, right? So this is what today is going to be based on. Thank you, Scott, for reading the scripture. And this is right in dead middle, right? Chapter 3, just after faith without works. All right, so it's easy to show forgiveness to people that we like. It's easy, right? But what about the people that, we struggle to get along with? How difficult are people, what kind of challenge is that? So we got on here, difficult people are, these are the different types, controlling, which is bossy and demanding, people who are pushy. You can run into people who come across as maybe intimidating. They like to dominate the conversations. For a lot of people, if you're in recovery right now, if you're at a sober living home, think about those situations, right? People who put unrealistic demands on your life. Then you have people who are critical, people who are perfectionists, people who are disapproving, people who come across as being maybe like very nitpicky, very highly critical, judgmental, right? Seem to notice what's wrong all the time. They're perfectionists that set an unreachable standard. They seem to look down in disapproval. All right, then you have people who are argumentative, loud talkers, debaters. They just want to constantly argue with you all the time. They have that, megaphone voice. They always have big opinions, right? They like to debate for absolutely no reason at all. Then you have people who are angry, easily triggered, destructive, right? You got to remember, anger isn't the problem. It's how we direct our anger. People who are, easily angered are destructive, right? Very short fuse. They walk around on eggshells. They often feel the tension in the air. Think about maybe, your roommates, maybe over at the recovery center you're at right now. It's things aren't easy, right? You have people who are sensitive, people who are easily offended. We call the snowflakes, come to mind, right? They can do no wrong. They're very sensitive. We always say it all the time. Are you going to play the victim or are you going to be the savage, right? They easily get their feelings hurt. Discontent. They're always playing the victim, the pity party. Poor me, poor me. I used to be that guy in my addiction. I used to be that guy who used to my luck sucks. My luck, poor me, black clouds always following me. And then, I remember when Kristen got cancer, I thought I was actually the black cloud. You want to talk about a pity party. And then, it wasn't until I got sober that I could reflect and learn that, I was just the guy chasing that black cloud, right? That's all we're doing. We're chasing it. And then you have people that are rude, petty, mean, disrespectful. Sometimes they're a little sarcastic, I saw that in me right now. They don't take the weight off their words seriously. They're insecure. They enjoy tearing down others. They're very disrespectful, especially in an authoritative situation. So I want you to think of this list real quick, right? Does any of it sound like your home or your work or where you're at, whatever type of environment you're in? Does this describe how others might treat you, right? But here's the real question. The question is, do any of these describe who you are, right? Let's change our perspective. Maybe it's not the other person, maybe it's us, right? All right, so therefore, healthy relationships are full of good fruit. When I think of good fruit, what do we think of? Galatians maybe, right? Fruit of the Spirit, some of those. Before we get into the good fruit, let's remind ourselves of the Beatitudes that we go over every time in here. All right. In fact, the dead center of the Beatitudes, right? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. And then right after that is blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. So I have on here, in conclusion, right? To have a hunger and thirst for righteousness is shown through a life of mercy. So our translation here at 21 Pathways would be, blessed are those who have self-control, for they will be free. And then again, right after that is, blessed are those who show forgiveness, for they will be shown forgiveness. The conclusion is, to have self-control is shown through a life of forgiveness. If I have forgiveness, then I have self-control. If I have self-control, then I have a chance today. Those of us who are followers of the Word, who don't just know the path, but want to walk that path, display good fruit of forgiveness, kindness, and compassion. You know, I used to think all the time that, time healed all wounds, right? I thought time healed everything. And I was definitely completely wrong on that. It's the good fruit of forgiveness, kindness, and compassion that heals everything. So, being forgiving, kind, compassionate to those, we want to do that. It's challenging. But what about those who are controlling, critical, argumentative, angry, sensitive, rude to us all the time, right? How do we deal with difficult people? 1, be unoffendable, all right? Being offended is a choice. We must choose, right? Choice again. We must choose to not be offended. Choose to not make something personal. No matter what is said or done, all right, or however crazy it might be, emotional, spiritual, whatever it may be, we can choose to just not respond. They always say eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, right? But that's not the way to do it, obviously, right? We want to be able to turn cheek and choose not to make it personal. Unoffendable people have thick skin and a soft heart. Offendable people have thin skin and a hard heart. Unoffendable people are wise. They learn from wisdom, literature.
Proverbs 12:16. A fool is quick-tempered, but a wise person stays calm when insulted. In Proverbs 19:11, sensible people control their temper. They earn respect by overlooking wrongs.
People who are full of forgiveness, they overlook the insults and the wrongs. They can make a choice to be not offended. This is a sign that we're mature, that we're growing, that we can reflect, right? And that we can look back and learn from that. More importantly, we can grow. Forgive before the apology, right? Hurt people hurt people. We've all been on the receiving end in hurtful words, from people's actions and words. We all know that we need to forgive who have hurt us. We must not wait for an apology, but hopefully we can before, extend that forgiveness. It's highly likely that, we'll probably be waiting a long time if we wait for them to forgive us, right? Or apologize. Yeah. My words. Yeah, sometimes you can be waiting for a real long time. Unhealthy people don't care that they hurt you, right? The greatest teacher on earth, he was healthy, he was merciful, and he forgave.
Luke 23:34. Forgive them, Father. They don't know what they are doing.
Healthy people choose to forgive before the very first apology. Don't confuse forgetting and forgiving. You can forgive, right? But you may never forget the hurt. Number 3, refuse the gossip. This is a challenging principle to follow. We often want to share our hurt with others. All right? He said, she said, we especially in recovery, the sober living homes, the recovery centers, it's really easy to get caught up. The group threads. So what is gossip? If you're talking about something or someone and you're not directly part of the problem or the solution, then you're gossiping. Gossip is a form of retaliation. Gossip is talking about a person and not to a person, right, behind their back. Gossip is incredibly destructive, especially in families, friendships, and fellowships.
Proverbs 17:9. Love prospers when a fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates close friends.
Close friends. Make the choice not to gossip. People who choose not to gossip are blessed. People who choose not to gossip are difficult, dysfunctional, and unhealthy. Number 4, disengage from the dysfunction, right? It's foolish to reason with dysfunctional people. They've gotten to where they're at now by just being foolish. Often, foolish people choose to act on their emotions. Dysfunctional people have pre-decided their decision regardless of outcome or even the counsel that they've been given. Right? There's a saying in here, not my circus, not my monkey. Right? And then the other one is refuse to wrestle with pigs, because both of you get dirty, but yet the pig is the one who likes it. All right, so, yeah. I thought Kristen put a picture of me up there or something. I thought that's what you were doing. Okay. All right, so Christ dealt with dysfunctional people all the time, right? The Pharisees absolutely hated Jesus. The religious hypocrites constantly or consistently attempted to trap Jesus. Matthew 22:15.
Then the Pharisees met together to plot how to trap Jesus into saying something for which he could be arrested. But Jesus knew their evil motives. You hypocrites, he said, why are you trying to trap me?
We can be kind and forgive, but trust must be earned. Forgiveness is an instant, right? Trust takes work and is earned over time. So what do? We kill them with kindness. When they go low, we go high. We have no control over what people say or think or do. We do, however, have control over how we choose to respond. You know, in the book of James here, it goes on about taming of the tongue, which we'll probably try to squeeze in next week also. On the left. All right, we have, where are we at here? People have said, it's, I've been sober now for 982 days, almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in. All right. And I'll be honest, man, there's a lot of shit talking in recovery. You know, there really is. There's a lot of hate. You know, it's just crazy. And if you're new in recovery and this is your less than 6 months, just try to surround yourself with good people. You know, there's just a lot of hate out there. And, don't get caught up in it. Know your tribe, know your peoples, get with them. And, when people start to get into that negative gossip, just try to diffuse it the best you can. It's hard, but, it's, that's just part of recovery, right? That's just how it is. But you can make a choice. You can do something about it. All right. So we said kill them with kindness, right? Here we go. We're almost done here. I'm going to let you read up these last two, and we're going to get to Rick.
Bless those who persecute you. Don't curse them. Pray that God will bless them. Romans 12:14. Never pay back evil with more evil. Do things in such a way that everyone can see you are honorable. Do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. Romans 12:17 and 18.
And before I hand it over to Rick, we say in here all the time, blessed are those who are hated on, right? For they will thrive. So just let them hate, I promise you, you're going to just end up thriving. So speaking of somebody who's thrived in his recovery, and I know you guys got some stories about some dysfunction in all the sober living homes you guys have been a part of. I'm going to let Rick take it from here.
How's it going, family? My name's Rick Rock, and I am an alcoholic.
What's up, Rick? Yeah,
honestly, I'm just thrilled and grateful to be up here between these two men. I just want to thank Brian and 21 Pathways for opening their doors, for letting someone like me in, for allowing me to wiggle myself into the middle of the pack. What Brian's doing here is courageous. Mixing the Bible and God's Word with recovery is so huge. I think it's something that's most important in my life and in my recovery and my walk.
Turn this a little bit like that, bro.
I'll just start off real quick, like a little bit of a backstory. I grew up in church. My uncle was a pastor, and all of my family was involved. Even the church had a school, so I went to school at church too. Like, my aunt was my teacher. So right away, I learned a lot about the Bible. I applied it to my life at times, especially when I was a kid. I was happy, but I think once I became a teenager, there was this desire to get into some trouble. I would see people that would come into the church, and we would invite people in, and they were off the streets, gang members, bikers, and I was kind of always into that. Like I had this thrill to find out what it was about, to F around and find out. And I did. You know, I want to say that I was a late bloomer, but I did start drinking around 20. And once I did that, it was on and cracking. Unfortunately, it's led to me being that guy. When I look at that list of a difficult person, I was that guy. I could check all those marks. And now, you know, I'm just striving to erase those, eliminate those, work every day to be a different man, to be a better man. But for a long time, it had a hold of me. I couldn't even fully tell you recently that I was an alcoholic. I used to call myself a dope fiend because I wasn't sure. But I haven't done any hardcore drugs in years, over 10 years. But alcohol always had a hold of me. I've lost relationships, lost kids, lost friends. And I'll tell you what's important in here and what's important to me. I moved out here about 10 years ago. I'm originally from Orange County, Anaheim. And when I did, I fell away from the community. I fell away from recovery. And for a while, I white-knuckled it. And I thought that I could hold it together on
So this
my
church
own.
here has a little manger, and I just stepped in and sat in it.
Once again, I relapsed.
I thank God, he'll pray. If it wasn't for that spot, the Lord knows, but I don't. I'm just grateful for it.
Unfortunately, I couldn't
So this
get
church
away
here has a
from
little
it,
manger, and I just stepped in and
especially
sat
when I
in
was
it.
upset.
I thank God, he'll pray. If it wasn't for that spot,
Being that demanding person,
the Lord knows, but I don't.
close family,
I'm just grateful for it.
so when they were upset or having a bad day,
So this church here has a little manger, and I just
and
stepped
then
in
I'd
and sat
end up
in
in my
it.
car all by myself,
I
drinking,
thank God, he'll pray. If it wasn't for that spot,
upset, alone.
the Lord
It
knows,
was
but I
dark
don't.
hole, deep dark hole
I'm just
of
grateful for it.
depression. A good shot of the guy.
So this church here has a little manger, and I just stepped in and sat
That
in it.
guy's still inside of me.
I thank God, he'll
There,
pray.
but
If it wasn't for that
I
spot,
fight every day. I do believe in spiritual warfare, and there's a battle that I'm fighting. I think some of us also in here are fighting that battle every day. I know for sure Scott and Brian are in the battle. We're up front on the front lines. Even today, saying what we're saying, trying to put out positiveness, it's going out onto the internet. There's going to be attacks. And I got attacked. And one thing that I could say that's 100% true is the fact that we need people like us surrounding us. That middle of the pack statement is so 100% true. I was forced, I'm going to say that right now, forced to go into meetings, forced to get one of those little cards signed, and had resentment towards it, saw these people as dull and boring, wasn't trying to like let it in, had that hard heart and a soft skin because I let things offend me, things that people said, how come you can't say God? Stuff like that. But it brought me to where I am today. I can tell you 100% with all truth that I'm grateful to be this alcoholic that I am. About 9 months ago, got a DUI again, and then another one a month later. So yeah, I got that problem. But I went to court, and a few of you maybe heard this. I went to court, and they wanted to give me a year in the LA County Jail. And I've never been to LA County Jail. I was like, no, please. Like I told my public defender, I was like, I'll do whatever you say. And she offered me to go to an IOP, which is, you know, it's just 4 hours a day, and then you go back to your house. I tried doing that. It relapsed. I ended up in my car again, and I got a call from this guy, Kenny K, and telling me that he's gonna pick me up and take me out to Fresno. And I was like, I'm ready, bro. I need to do this. I need to go. I was able to go in front of the judge, and you know, I told the judge, I said, I'm going to celebrate recovery. I'm working on on my recovery, I had been once. And that judge OR'd me, which means let me out on my own recognizance. I wouldn't be here today. And I used to say that I shouldn't be here, but that's not true. God brought me here. God's got me right here up in front of this mic to tell you that this place is where it's at. 21 Pathways and other rooms of recovery are important for us, important for me to continue down this path. There's times where, even in the sober living home, I got Scott Seals right here. He's my manager. He's been putting up with me for like 90 days. Man, I was not the guy that was the cool guy at first. I was definitely the troubled guy, the difficult dude. I had all of those things, all of them. I mean, literally to the point where Scott had to tell me to shut up. You know, and my self-will and like desires to want to say how I feel and express my hurts, you know, seemed so important. But once I was able to like be quiet, I want to tell you for myself, my higher power is a polite guy. So he's going to wait for me to be quiet so I can hear what he's got to say. Scott gave me good wisdom. There's other people here in this room that have been putting up with my stuff since the first day. And I'm grateful for them. You know, I'm grateful to get an opportunity to, for those people to see me change. I've seen people change in here as well. And man, it's a blessing. I can't think of, I can't think of what would have happened if I would have still been right there. It was meant for me and all of you to be here tonight. And I know that with 100% certainty.
I got a question.
Sure.
So you said you were born in the church, and you had a lot of family in the church. And what happened to where you where it became like you were overindulged in all this, in alcohol and drugs? Like, how did it get to the point? What was your relationship with God at that point?
I think I had a good relationship as a kid, but as I became a teenager, I got rebellious. I started getting into graffiti. Back then, I was just catching tags, just scribbling. I got into it with my stepdad at the time, who, was a very disciplined dude, a very strict dude. And, and I tell you what, he was my stepdad, but he was the one who stepped up. He made mistakes, and I used those mistakes for a long time to be angry. But then I realized later on in life that the only reason why he made those mistakes was because he was there to make them, that my bio was never around. He put hands on me. I ran away. I would try to go back, but I never had the full surrender in my heart. So if I could tell you one thing, that if I'm not going to figure it out right now, I'm going to have to figure it out later on. You know what I mean? I've heard someone say there's two types of people in the world: those that are humble and those that are going to get humbled. You know what I mean? And I am humbled. I don't want to go around bragging about it. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to prove a point on it's time for myself. Not everybody has to wait till they're 47 to figure it out. You know what I mean? I hope I could be an example of what not to do.
So it was pretty much this last DUI that you got that
Yeah,
humbled you,
This last DUI
almost
was
going to LA County.
definitely a rock bottom. I was telling Brian when we talked about this that I had this selfishness about me where everybody in my life, my family, my friends, they deserved to get whatever they had coming from me. They, wanted to be around me, so they were going to get hit maybe by the whirlwind. But this last one, I was visiting my daughter drunk, and I ran into someone. I crashed into just a regular person going to work, or maybe on their way home. Thankfully, she didn't get hurt. They tried to at first give me a GBI, which is a great bodily injury, but it turned out that it was just superficial, like kind of getting rear-ended. But the fact that I hit somebody that I didn't know and hurt someone,
What could have happened?
Yeah, what could have happened, how bad it could have been. I thank God for that. I thank, the universe or whatever you want to say for me to get that second chance or 22nd chance to get it right this time. And that did lead me to Touchstone Recovery, who put up with my shit, my stuff. And, you know, I knew when I went to detox, when I went to the inpatient, it was 30 days. I was like, I can't just be that. That's not enough. And so they offered the PHP program, which meant me going into the sober living. And, you know, that part of the story is where I ended up with Scott. I honestly have done different programs, but have never actually done sober living like I've done with Scott.
What are some of the things you've learned over at Sober Living?
It's great. You know, if you want to talk about difficult people, yeah, there's been times where we get on each other's nerves. We get in each other's way. You know, things come up missing like food, or people have, you know, different kinds of vibe where, you know, it like scratches each other. It's kind of like iron sharpens iron. I turned to, you know, finally realize, because in the end, I think we've grown a love for each other. There's some of the brothers there that have been there for a while that, you know, I mean, well, all of them, even everybody that's new, like, we all have like this kinship. And I wouldn't have, you know, it's God's grace, because I wouldn't have learned just the things that I've been able to learn from Scott. You know, he's a shining example of sort of what I'm going through as well. And I get to look to him and ask him questions. Even right after work, he's tired, he's been at work all day, and before he could even make it into the room, I'm like, yo, Scott. And he takes time to talk to me and, you know, spend time with me. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, I'll tell you what, if you guys are thinking about going into sober living, do it. Take that time.
I got a question for you, Scott. So what's it like being the manager, and how do you handle all these conflicts? How do you handle managing a group of people that maybe are getting in arguments or disruptive? Tighten up.
Tighten up. Yeah. First of all, y'all should know Rick Rock came in hot to the colony. This dude is on fire.
Not in a good way.
You know, it's Rick. I was expecting Rick Buchanan, and he's like, they call me Rick Rock. I said, all right, Rick Rock, we'll give you a nickname. But the thing that I've learned, and by the way, the man you see today is, you know, the same on the outside, except a little bit healthier. But the inside, his spirit has grown. I mean, it is transforming. And Rick Rock, you know, just like a clock, baby, always on time. He's got a method to his madness, and it's working. Back to your question, Brian, the way that I try to handle it now with advice from somebody who had done it and walked before me is with love and compassion.
Yeah.
Right? One of the greatest tests is putting up with and not becoming that unbothered person, because we've all got pet peeves, and when you put 7, 8, 9, 10 guys or females in a house, yeah, we really bother each other.
Yeah.
Especially when we're used to our own privacy.
Right.
Yeah, so love, compassion, and then tolerance.
Yeah. Yep, making it work. So, Rick, how many months of sobriety do you have? Will let everyone know?
I don't know if anybody's into angel numbers, but I have 111 days.
111 days, right? So somebody should look up 111, right? What's that? I'm sure somebody in here knows that, the numerics of that. But so what are the top 3 things you've learned in recovery in the last 4 months?
I definitely learned how to be patient. You know, I can go into where, man, I wish everybody forgive me. It doesn't happen right away. You got to be patient and kind to yourself. We're in a room of faith, but even if you just have faith in yourself would be the next thing. And then leaning on each other, the community, the reaching out to a brother. When they talk that talk about, oh, you need a sponsor, oh, you need to work the steps, it's really real. That's the solution right there. I could just keep naming off things, but definitely staying plugged in. And, you know, I am out here and about to finish Touchstone, and I'm continuing sober living because it's that important. I feel like time is going to go by, and I've learned so much just in 111 days. I'd like to see what maybe 1,011 days.
That'd be cool.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I am grateful to be able to have a house in Tulare, which is about an hour away. You know, my ultimate goal is to just be able to be plugged in, maybe eventually go home, but be able to drive out here to commute, you know, and be a man that's plugged into this community world of recovery, man, because I can't find a better place. I know that God brought me out here. Being from Orange County, man, we were afraid of Fresno. And not for any reason. I didn't gangbang.
That's right.
But I heard that, you know, everybody out here is red and everybody down there is blue. And so I would have never, ever came to Fresno for no reason, not even to, like, watch a football game or, watch, you know, go to some concert. But now I feel like this is my second home. You know, again, I'm going to definitely miss the colony and miss Scott, but I know he's just a phone call away. And all you guys, too. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of people in here, including Brian here, that have lifted me up and that have been continuing to be an example. You know, I can name names. I don't think we're supposed to, but I love you guys out there, and you know, I love you with all of my heart.
So let's give him a big hand right here. Yeah. So we're gonna call on a few people real quick, but if you had one message to give to someone less than 30 days, what would you tell them?
What would I tell them?
Yeah. What's your message to someone with less than 30 days?
Keep on pushing. You know what I mean? If you're starting to feel like you're struggling, call somebody, text someone. You know what I mean? There's people in here that care. If they're not in this room, they're in another room. If they're not here at 21, they're at, you know, FA, they're at HA, they're at CA. There's so many people. Don't isolate. You know, call, reach out. There are people that care, like Brian was saying earlier. Yeah, maybe there's going to be some people that you might have friction with. That's just recovery. But there are more people in here that love you and continue to get into the middle of the pack.
It's about building bridges, right?
Yeah, big time, bro.
Relationships.
All the way.
Okay, so we're going to call on a few people. Kenny, you got the microphone? I'm going to let you call on a couple people, and we'll rotate it out.
Oh, you want
Go
me
ahead.
to
Yeah, call on someone.
Danielle.
There it is. Hi, guys. I'm Danielle, and I'm an addict. What's up, Danielle? We got a microphone for you.
Oh gosh, thank you. I know I haven't like been here through your whole journey, but it's really cool to see you up there. I always love when people come in and then you see them up there and they're a completely different person. Because for me, I always see the change in everybody else, but never myself. And that's one of the things that makes me want to keep coming back to rooms like this is people going up there and sharing their story, and all of you guys. It's amazing. It's amazing what we do. Is there a topic, or am I just talking? Just whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
How to handle difficult people. What are your
How do people
yeah,
handle
what's
you?
your message on how to handle that?
How I've handled it in the past and how I handle it now is completely different.
Right.
Before I worked on myself or did life differently, I would handle it with anger and words and actions and physically, or tear them down, be a bad person. But now when things get to me or I have something happening, whether it's drama or any conflict whatsoever, if it bothers me, I reach out to somebody instead and let them know. And then I just realize that I can't fucking control what anybody else does. I can control how I talk, what I do in return, but whatever they do is on them. And it's a reflection of them, not on me. And so just handle it with tolerance, love, compassion. I love this meeting. It's so cool to see you up there. Seriously, it's like my favorite thing ever, going to these meetings and seeing people like you go up there and share your story. It's amazing. But that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Call someone else.
Kenny G.
Sweet. What are we talking about? I'm sorry. I was so in the.
How do you deal with difficult people?
How to deal with difficult people? Good question. At Sierra Meadows, we're learning the circles of control, and
What is Sierra Meadows? Let everyone know.
Sierra Meadows is a mental health facility. They're right underneath Touchstone, so literally went from upstairs to downstairs, but I'm moving on up. Sorry. Okay. I'll stick to the script. My apologies. But it is a mental health group that tries to assist you in what led you into the addiction aspects of the mental health aspects that led you into your addiction, I should say. And with that, there's the circles of control. And you have your inner circle, which is yourself, me, myself, and I, how I can react, how my emotions are affecting the situation at hand. And from there, you have your circle of influence. Those are going to be like your parents, your closest friends, the people that you're seeing on a daily basis, maybe your coworkers. These are people that you have an influence over, but you don't have direct control over. Even if you're like a manager and you're overseeing a team, that team is still just within your circle of influence. You're not directly in control of them. You can give them suggestions on how to better themselves and how to do their job accordingly, but you're only influencing them. It's up to them at the end of the day to follow those instructions and take it from there. And then there's the outer circle, people that you just run into on the street, people that you don't really know. A lot of us have trouble driving and not getting pissed off. And that's going to be your outer circle, the furthest thing from your control, your house. And I would say that if you have an understanding of your circles of control, you can better deal with people that you feel are being difficult, because they might be driving slow in front of you, but it's up to you and your inner circle to decide whether you're going to let that dictate your entire day or that hour or that moment, and choose for yourself, am I going to let what I consider to be a difficult person make my life more difficult for myself?
Very cool. Thank you, Kenny. Want to call him?
How about Brian over here? Now your wife's gonna be extra mad she's not here.
Brian, addict.
What's up, Brian?
Shit, I think I'm still a difficult person sometimes. I'm still learning. 93 days into this thing, and I'm thank you. White knuckling it, looking for a sponsor, getting ready to work the steps, do whatever I got to do. But yeah, that's what I got. I'll keep coming back.
There you go. Thank you, Brian. Go ahead.
We gotta call somebody from the colony.
Yeah.
Let's do Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm an alcoholic.
What's up, Nick?
Great job, Rick. That was a great story, man. And,
Great job.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
I'm one of Rick's roommates, and we can ask Scott. Scott, did I come in hot too?
Oh yeah.
Dealing with difficult people, man, it has been a difficult thing, and I can sit here today and say that Rick and I have had some at least one disagreement, and
Right.
something that I did, it was my fault, and something that a defect of mine that happened, and about an outside issue that really wasn't all that big of a deal. But he handled it with grace. I was able to come to him and talk to him about it. We spoke it out. Honestly, a lot of it had to do with Scott. Like Rick has already mentioned, Scott's been instrumental in helping all of us. We're all sitting right here.
Yeah.
I don't think she lives there, but he's been instrumental in helping every single one of us grow as a person. And honestly, I can say that in the last 2 or 3 weeks, for sure, Rick Rock has made significant freaking progress, and he's a whole different guy. And I feel like I'm a different guy. And everybody here has grown, from Chad to, Aiden, everybody. Like we're all doing a really good job of co-mingling and living together. Dealing with difficult people is really I really enjoyed all the slides, becoming unoffended, being unoffendable. It's funny, I'll even say it today. We had an issue in group, and it was something something not related to me or Rick Rock in any way, but me and Rick Rock were both involved, and it was like, we just, a little bit unoffended, you know, like somebody was being a little bit crazy, and over the different situations that we've been in through the house and with the different people that we live with, I think that we've been able to walk with some grace through those situations where like in group, there's like 30 or 40 people, you know, all sitting there together, and there's a lot of different personalities, and we have to coexist. I'm really grateful to to be here and to be growing as a person, and I feel that I can see the change in myself. A lot of it is coming here and listening to you know, to the 21 Pathways program. I love it here. I'm in service with you guys, all of you guys up there at the table, and you know, and that's where I find my happy place is giving back to people. And I'm only, I don't know, I think 82 or 83 days sober today, but
Yeah.
but I feel like a whole different person, and I had a conversation with Scott before we got here today. Just, you know, it's so amazing. Just like in a week or even in 2 weeks, learning a little lesson, like every 3 or 4 days, like something comes up, you know, and we learn it with each other, like whether it's with Chad or me or Michael, you know, something comes up and we learn that lesson together, and then you walk through that.
Yep.
And you either use every situation that you come with to learn something, or you're just going to end up being the same person, if not worse, you know, and that's where the whole dry drunk thing comes in. And I try to remember everything that I go through every day as a learning experience, and I see Rick Rock doing that exact same thing. And so thanks for your story tonight, and congratulations on the progress that you made, and I look forward to seeing you around.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick.
How about Dax? My guy Dax back there. I see you with the hood on. You want to share?
What am I supposed to share about?
Whatever you want, man. How do you deal with difficult people?
Dealing with difficult people, try to not interact with them or have the least interaction.
There you go.
But I do want to say, like, if you're thinking of relapsing, do not do it. You will never, it's never going to go away. Feel me? So try and get it right on your first time. That's just it. You're not going to put it back in the bag once it comes out. You don't keep using. So don't break your sobriety date.
Thanks, Dax.
Thanks, man.
You want to call on someone? Scott? We got time for maybe one more. Yeah, call on someone. Yeah, one more. Oh, Lincoln.
Hey.
Who are you?
Lincoln Alcoholic.
What's up, Lincoln?
Hey, guys. So, dealing with difficult people?
Yeah.
Man, I think in my addiction, I was the difficult person.
Absolutely.
But I didn't see that. It was everybody else's problem. Everybody else was a douchebag. Everybody else was screwing me over 24/7, and it's really difficult being the center of the universe. It is. Like when I close my eyes, you guys cease to exist, you know? But when I quit drinking, I thought everything was going to magically get easier because that was the problem, right? No, then I had to deal with myself. And I couldn't will myself into not drinking in the same way that I now can't will myself into treating other people right or treating other people nicely or willing defects out of myself. What happened to me was, and what's still happening to me, is I have needs that my higher power provides for, you know? So if I get offended, it's because I put myself in a position where I depended upon somebody else and elevated them to the level of my higher power, or to God, you know? If I truly rely on God, then all my needs are being fulfilled, and I'm being made whole. So like whatever happens out here, it doesn't matter because I am provided for.
Yeah.
You know, and we have this tendency. I think alcoholics and addicts are codependent. We have this tendency to depend on other people. But if I can love others out of an abundance of love that was given to me, rather than out of a deficit of love that was given to me, that I have, to make myself whole, then I'm just in a better spot. But man, I love your story, dude. Yeah, this is a good spot. Love you guys.
Thanks, Lincoln. Hey, let's give it up for Rick Rock for a great meeting. Yeah.
I'm Casey, and I'm a very grateful recovering addict and alcoholic. This is walking together. In the story of temptation read earlier, we were given a blueprint for success. How do we bring light out of darkness? Here is the solution. Jesus models what it looks like to bring order out of chaos. When he has a test of heart, he responds, "It is written," which is another way of saying it is in the word. And Jesus has the word in him. Not only does Jesus know the path, but he walks the path correct. Not only does Jesus know the story of God, he trusts the story of God. And we see him doing that precisely in the story of temptation. What would happen this week if you had a test of heart? Would you know the word? Would you trust the word? As we walk together, just as Jesus walked the path, we equip ourselves with the profound wisdom of Scripture. So the next time temptation or challenge confronts us, we stand resilient, declaring with conviction, "It is written." Know the word, trust the word. Know the story, trust the story. Know the path, walk the path. God has a plan. We just need to trust it. It was written.
Hi, my name is Carol, and I'm reading Titus 3:3-7. At one time, we too were foolish, disobedient, deceived, and enslaved by all kinds of passions and pleasures. We lived in malice and envy, being hated and hating one another. But when the kindness and love of God, our Savior, appeared, he saved us, not because of righteous things we had done, but because of his mercy. He saved us through the washing of rebirth and renewal by the Holy Spirit, whom he poured out on us generously through Christ our Savior, so that having been justified by his grace, we might become heirs, having the hope of eternal life.
Am I up here, kid? Okay, so we're going to go do a baptism with Grace. Where's Grace at? There she is. She's back there. So she's going to get dunked. Hope you know how to hold your breath underwater there, Grace. So everyone's welcome. So we're going to shut down pretty quick here in a second. But Muirwood, all right, Muirwood, Danielle and Muirwood, they're going to lead us out with the Serenity Prayer. Is that okay? Yep. All right, we're on you guys. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Trust God, put in work.